the most essential exercises in calisthenics for bodyweight training are the push-up, the pull-up / chin-up, and the bodyweight squat, or just the squat in general. Now, just going through the general list of stuff that I mentioned, I said about, 3 exercises? Maybe if you think that a chin-up is completely different from a pull-up, then that's about 4 exercises. But if you want to just forego the chin-up or even the pull-up, then boom, it's just 3 exercises. A pushing exercise, a pulling exercise, and a lower body exercise. Now, this combination here will get you like 80% of your definition and gains and strength within calisthenics. It's very important to do these exercises. So just with the standard push-up, as a beginner, you might not know the hand positioning. You might not know a bunch of different push-up variations. You might not have a strong enough core. So then you kind of work through certain progressions in order to make the push-up easier, whether that be elevating your hands, doing the push-ups from your knees, maybe not going down as far, like cutting the range of motion. And then, at some point you progress until you can do a perfect push-up. Now, you might be able to do, this is just for like the standard person out there, you might be able to say, I can do 50 push-ups. But if you look at the quality of those reps, maybe you're going down halfway, you're kind of repping them out, you're going fast. But just think of if you were to do slow, controlled push-ups where you get all the way down, you get your chin to touch the ground, and you come back up, and you luck out, and you pause for a minute or a second. And just imagine, and then being able to do 30 of those, 40 of those, 50 of those, right? Tell me that, if a person was able to do that they won't have well-developed, pectorals, shoulders, triceps, just alone from doing those push-ups, right? And just the standard push-up can, just get so much of the anterior chain, basically, all of it, it gets all heads of the triceps, it gets the front delt, works a little bit of the side delt depending on the angle, and of course, all of the chest. And then, again, there's just so many variations of the push-up. There's the diamond, there's pike, you can elevate your feet, you can elevate your hands, you can do them off of parallettes, whatever the case may be. But in general, just the standard push-up needs 0 equipment to do, literally 0 equipment. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to go out to any store and get any type of equipment for push-ups specifically. You can literally just bust out and do them right now. It's such a liberating thing to have such an effective, time-proven, strong exercise that needs literally nothing to start. It just needs you. It just needs yourself and you having the willingness to do so. And, having that mindset will lead you away from having the bad mindset of I don't have enough time, or I can't make it to the gym, or I can't afford equipment, blah, blah, blah. You don't need equipment when you can do such a basic, regular exercise at home, anywhere, at the park, at the grocery store, at your auntie's house. It doesn't matter. You can do push-ups literally anywhere and progress on them forever, right? You can progress in them by adding weight. You can progress in them by slowing down the tempo. You can progress in them by changing up variations. You can progress in them by simply adding reps and sets, things like that. And so it's just kind of you can always challenge yourself with such a simple exercise, just a regular exercise. It's amazing. That's kind of a beautiful thing about a lot of calisthenics movements, because you don't need anything to start it, to be honest. You don't need much. It's like a broke man way of training. Imagine being the homeless guy that's super jacked because he just stayed consistent to doing push-ups and squats. So moving on to the next exercise, pull-ups. So with pull-ups, you are going to have to try and invest in some type of equipment, especially if you're going to be training from home. You are going to need a pull-up bar, whether that be a doorway pull-up bar or like something that you actually set up. It doesn't matter, as long as you have a reliable place to hang your body weight off of and pull from. Probably the cheapest option would be like a doorway pull-up bar. A good one will probably be at least like $30. I remember I got my first one from Walmart. I think it was like about $26, but I think they're probably around $30 now. So, you invest in that, right? So that piece of equipment, I've had that piece of equipment for almost 3 years now, and it's still lasting me. I'm still doing pull-ups off of it. When I first was doing pull-ups, I was like over 200 pounds. So it's definitely able to still hold my body weight, even now, although I'm a lighter body weight. So it's like, don't be afraid to make that investment. I mean, just think about how much money you spend on so many other things that don't have much actual use to you. Just an example, video games, right? Like spending $60, $70, $50 on new video games every time they come out just to play on them for a couple of months or something like that. But you can go down to Walmart or you can go down to some type of sporting goods store and get a pull-up bar for half of that price. Get a pull-up bar for $30, maybe at most $40. And that can last you like practically your lifetime, especially if you treat a piece of equipment well. And that's me not even talking about the exercise. That's just me talking about getting access to just useful equipment for the pull-up. Now, when it comes to the pull-up, you can progress in it forever, just like how I said with the push-ups. You're able to, first start out just kind of like just getting more reps no matter what your form looks like. Then at some point you eliminate kipping. Then at some point you try and keep your torso straight. Then at some point you try and, get your chin fully over the bar. Then at some point you try and make sure your shoulder blades are fully retracted when you get to the top, when you have a proud chest. There's just so many ways to progress. You can do L-sit pull-ups or L-sit chin-ups. You can do neutral grip. If you have the handles to do so, whatever, you can close-in the grip, you can widen the grip, things like that. And just to kind of work your back a lot more holistically. But I feel like in general, just the standard pull-up that I prefer, where you do keep your chest proud, will work your entire back more holistically. So you're getting your lats in there, your traps, your rhomboids, rear delts. Of course, your forearms are getting worked. When it comes to pulling exercises, having your forearms worked is very important, especially with an exercise like the pull-up, because you are pulling your entire body weight. This is something that we as humans are meant to do. We're meant to be able to hold our body weight in our hands for extended periods of time. And if you cannot do that, it does kind of show a level of, your health and your vitality. And so the less likely you are able to hold your body weight, the unhealthier you are, basically, right? So there's a bunch of like old people, not a bunch, but, there's old people where they can like grip and hold like 300 pounds in their hands, whilst they're probably like, 180 or something like that. But that's because they, worked out, they trained their strength and things like that when they were younger, and they were able to keep it when they were older. So now is a perfect time to start to kind of help with your grip and help with your pull-up strength, because your back is most of your power. Just most things that we do in general life is going to include our back, most physically active things. So it's very important to be able to train this movement, especially something that is kind of like we're meant to do. Just think of in the evolutionary process, we're meant to be able to pull ourselves up, right? We're meant to be able to move around our bodies in efficient ways, and we're losing that. So and a pull-up is a perfect example of being able to move our body weight in a way to that we were meant to, because we were meant to be able to climb up things and go up things and use our back muscles to assist our arms into going up things. And our back muscles really do connect well with the power of our legs. Just think about when you squat or when you deadlift, You're using your back and your leg muscles that, work together. A lot of leg movements do include your back and even your grip, depending on the movement, to be strengthened. So it's very important to do a pull-up. And again, you can just work on infinite types of progressions for the pull-up, no matter what. So last exercise, the squat. So when it comes to just body weight only, the best you can really do is changing up certain variations. So there's just the regular body weight squat. Then there's the Hindu squat. Then there's like a goblet squat. So now we're kind of adding weight, then maybe putting on a weight vest, or maybe like a horse stance squat where you're like widening out your feet. Then there's just like a bunch of other things like single leg lunges or a pistol squat, things like that, in order to work your legs. But when you want to progress in the bodyweight squat, you kind of just want to work on your mobility, because it's definitely a mobility builder. I've gained a lot more mobility in my hips and my ankles just by practicing the bodyweight squat over and over. Interestingly enough, me doing like barbell squats, heavy barbell squats, did not help at all, or doesn't help at all with any mobility issues that I had when it came to squatting. But just practicing bodyweight squats over and over and over again, doing hundreds of reps, every couple of days, allowed for me to be able to get a much deeper squat position and to basically feel more comfortable in my own body through increasing my mobility. And that's one thing too, when you increase your mobility, your body isn't as stiff, and it's kind of like as if you got to know your body better. And when you get to know your body better, you're going to feel more comfortable in it, and you're going to feel more confident. So by doing bodyweight squats, by working out those muscles that get really tight, like your hips and your knees and your ankles, those are probably some of the tightest muscles on, the modern man today, because of the nature of life, at least here in the West, where there's a lot of sitting, there's not enough stretching, not enough getting up and walking around, not enough physical activity. So those muscles will tend to just tighten up and basically dissolve over the years. And then we can't use our own body. But with the bodyweight squat, there's just so many things that it's just beneficial for. It's such a natural movement too, when it comes to just the health and development of like the human body. Of course, it's going to work your quads and your glutes. And then it's also going to strengthen your core. So again, like just very important. And if you want to add weight, you can. But personally, I enjoy just doing hundreds of like reps. It's just fun to me. It's more fun than doing heavy barbell squats. I enjoy doing barbell squats here and there, but I just really do enjoy just continuously progressing and just high rep bodyweight squats, and seeing how far I can push things, how far I can take things. And with just doing your body weight, your joints, this is the same thing for all the other exercises I mentioned. Your joints, tendons, and ligaments will build up tremendously. Your joints tend to benefit more from doing higher reps, since you're kind of stretching and stressing that tissue repeatedly over and over again under a light pressure, or a light resistance, sorry. So therefore, it's going to have the better capacity to build up. And you might notice that, like, unless you're doing intense, like, calisthenics progressions, like, planche or front lever, things like that. But if you're just sticking to the basics and just doing those repeatedly over and over again, you will probably have no joint pain. I mean, look at all the calisthenics athletes in New York, right? All the like the jacked black guys in like New York and whatnot. Do you see them wearing wrist wraps? Do you see them wearing like elbow things or stuff on their knees because their joints are so achy from doing all the calisthenics moves? No, because they don't have those issues, because their tendons are strong and healthy from repeatedly doing these bodyweight exercises over and over again, day in, day out for years. And they probably have some of like the healthiest bodies in terms of, just like strength, muscularity, joints, things like that, than most people do, even like most strongmen or most bodybuilders probably. So now you might mention like, hey, what about other, parts of your body, or, what about your hamstrings? What about your core? What about your arms? Whatever. So I'd say the reason why I only said 3 exercises is because they cover about 90% of your bases, right? So a lot of those exercises, so not a lot, sorry. Pull up, push up, squat, all of those exercises will work your core. So if you really just want to keep a bare bones, simple workout, then just do those 3 exercises and stick to them and stay consistent to them. Because maybe if you might want to add a little something here and there, it might make things more complicated and more difficult. And of course, if you're a beginner, it might be more beneficial just to stick to those couple of things, just to those couple of exercises. So things don't become, of course, overcomplicated, and you don't get like decision fatigue, which is just going to end up slowing you down and won't allow you to make, proper progress, and, it'll keep you away from staying consistent. And another thing, so there's many ways to train muscle groups like your calves and your hamstrings just through doing like cardio, to be honest. So, doing hill sprints will definitely build up those calves and your hamstrings. Doing things like jump rope will build up your calves. There's so many ways for us to be athletic in order to build up certain other muscle groups without having to use weights. Then there's your arms, and then maybe the rest of your shoulders. Well, again, if you progress really well, so one thing I realized, the pull-up, when it comes to my rear delts, like I feel like they've really progressed well due to me training the pull-up the way I've been training it for the past couple of months now. My middle delt, just by doing pike push-ups, I feel like it's developed pretty well. When it comes to my arms, again, like the exercises I mentioned, there's so many other variations you can do. You can put your hands together close in the grip, and that will work more of your biceps, more of your triceps on, whichever pulling or pushing movement you're doing. And then, someone might mention the lower back. Now, I do think it's important to try and implement some type of moves or some type of exercises in order to get a healthier lower back. So that might just be back extensions, or even just doing deadlifts maybe once or twice out of the week, just to kind of make sure you don't run into any injury. So like, sure, you might look like you're healthy, but your body could break at any moment if you don't have a strong, lower back, or a well-developed enough lower back in order to handle, repeated loads and stuff like that. So if there's anything outside of calisthenics, out of those 3 exercises that I would recommend, then I would probably recommend again, Superman's back extension, or deadlift or RDO. But that's about it. See you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Peace out.